Hi, I'm Miss Roz, and today we're going to be printmaking. I'm going to lead you through a really fun process using some different supplies that you can find around your house. And we're going to make a print of really anything that you would like to draw. And I'll show you some different ways you can use your print over and over again. It's made out of a styrofoam plate. I had some flowers here, and I printed it different this time. Then I made it look different, and I changed it up again with different colors. This video is part of our video series of the Acadiana Center for the Arts online series, Virtual Art Studio, where teaching artists present lessons in visual arts, dance, music, and more that you can enjoy from anywhere. One way to be inspired to make a print is to look at other prints made by artists. Here in Lafayette, there is a wonderful display at our local university museum at UL called the Hilliard, and it's located on St. Mary Avenue. It's a great place to tour and experience all it has to offer. Inside the gallery, you will see 270 different pieces, all made by printmaking. This show is called 20 Years of Mare Press, and it's wonderful to walk around and see all the different pieces. And I'm sure you're going to get some ideas for your own projects. This exhibit will be up all summer until August 20th, 2022. It's a great opportunity to see some fascinating and amazing printmaking. And also, it's a great summertime activity to do. We also will be having a family day coming up in May that I'll tell you more about later. For today's project, you will need any type of styrofoam plate like this. Maybe a couple of them. You'll need an ink pen with a point, or you can use a dull pencil to make your lines with. You need washable markers like Crayola in all sorts of colors, a wet sponge, or if you don't have a sponge, a wet folded paper towel will do. You need some scissors to cut the plate into different shapes, and of course lots of different sheets of paper that you can make your prints on. I like to have several plates and pieces of paper available to make images over and over, and then you can choose your best ones and your favorite ones. Here are some simple ones that I've done with students. Different ones with different lines on them, and you can see they've been printed on a couple of times. Maybe something like a fruit. This was a cool shape that inspired the watermelon slice. Sometimes we just practice making shapes. Here's a cool flower with some lines, some contour lines around it. This is an easy one, but it makes a really pretty image. This is one of my favorites, a radial design. So as you can see, you can make pretty much anything. Here's some simple ones I've made with students. Think about something that you need to draw a lot of, like when you're drawing a tree and you need a lot of leaves. You can make one leaf print and use it over and over each time, and it'll put it and glue it in a lot of different directions and make a lot of different colors without having to draw it each time. Or a picture of a car that you can print onto a road, and so it looks as if there are lots of cars on the road, or buildings or people. The ideas are endless. Let's get started. Find a good place to sit where it won't matter if water is spilled or you won't damage anything important. Maybe your parents can suggest a workspace. Get all your supplies ready to go. Have your pens, your pencils, your scissors, and plates nearby. Go wet your sponge or your paper towel and set it on an extra plate or somewhere that it can get wet. Now you just need your imagination to lead you. I've got all my supplies ready to go. The first thing we need to do is get our paper plates flat. So if you look at them, there's that edge that's rounded that we need to take off. And you can easily see where if you're going to try to cut a circle shape, you just start cutting in, and when you get to the circle part, the flat part, you turn your scissors and you're cutting that edge that stands up so we can have a flat piece of styrofoam. If you're cutting something from like a takeout container that's maybe more rectangular, you can cut just the top of it off. It really doesn't matter what shape it is, because once you get it into the shape like this, you can cut it into any shape if you want it into a square or a rectangle from here. I might leave this one as a circle. So I'm going to have a couple ready to go. So I'm going to cut one plate, then I'll cut another. They're pretty easy to cut. The styrofoam is thin, and so you'll see that, see how soft they are? Do you feel them? That when we draw, our marks are going to go into the styrofoam so they can be seen and they can be felt. So you can just throw this part away unless you can think of something else to do with it. Okay? Do you have a pen or something to do some marks with? Like this is the part you need to make the point with. Okay, let's try some simple lines so we can get our feel for the pen or the pencil and how hard to press. So get your first piece of styrofoam and let's try something very simple. Let's just try to press and pull a straight line. See, you have to know how hard to press so you don't cut through it. And you just get enough to feel the line. So you can see I cut a little bit right here, so I went off on my pressure a little bit. Try it again. Pull another straight line. These can be some great stripes. And you can feel through that, through the styrofoam, you can feel making the pressure. Feel it. Do you feel the texture of it? Okay, how about let's try some zigzags. You can go either way. We can do all different sorts of, we're just practicing for our first one. So a zigzag goes up and then it goes down and up and go down. And don't worry if your lines, it's hard to make them exactly how you want them with this process, but you can get a real abstract look once we do some lines. So I'm doing a zigzag across. So we're just practicing. And we'll make one for real in just a second. So that's a good line that we've done before. You want to try some shapes? See if you can make a circle. Make sure you're pressing hard enough. Not just enough to see the ink, but that you can feel the indentions of the styrofoam. I'll make another circle. I'll go back over it so I can see the ink and see the shape. Great. Got a couple of lines, getting the feel for it. If it's not going exactly how you planned, just this is our practice one. So how about a curved line, like a rainbow? We can make some like a smile. We can do a pattern. I did rainbow, smile, smile. Now I can do rainbow again. Rainbow, smile, smile. We can break it off into sections. Like that. I'm going to go back and go over it to make sure. Use your fingers to make sure you can feel the indentations. How about a wavy line? I might want to turn my styrofoam to be able to pull my pen. Do you see I'm making a long snake, like a wavy snake? I'm pressing down. It's hard to make it's hard to pull all the way through it, so I do pick it up and then place it back down and pull it down like this. There's a wavy line. That's one of the art lines. We have zigzag, curved, wavy, straight. And this can even be a dotted line if you make another circle. I'm going to try a square this time. Square has 4 sides. They're all equal. Good. And maybe you want to make a heart or a star. This is our practice one. So are you getting some images into your styrofoam first? So here's a star, a heart, you could try a crescent shape, all right, so we have a lot of different details on here. I'll give you a few minutes to add some different things to it. And then we're just going to have fun this time and just color different things, different shapes to practice. So the first thing you do is draw your picture on the styrofoam. One thing you could do is if you draw something on paper first, you could put the picture on top of the styrofoam and then press through the paper to get your picture exactly how you want it. But today we're just learning the process. So I'm going to use my markers now. Remember when you use markers, you put the cap in the backpack so you don't lose the tops. So I'm going to use different colors to make this a real colorful print. I'm putting a lot of marker ink on it, so make sure you have some fresh markers. Try to use a variety of colors. There, I did pink. Maybe I'll do some green. So we have to use marker to go over every line so they will show up. So I'm putting a lot of ink into the lines that I already drew with the ink pen. So you can choose whether to paint the color of the background or to leave it plain and just show the lines. It's up to you. I'm going to do the background so you can see it this time. Color my moon. I haven't colored my thing. So each ink pen line has to be gone over. Okay, great. Now I might choose a light color like yellow and to color in between. And it's okay if it touches other parts. You'll see some color mixing going on. So I'm coloring around all of the white styrofoam. Got yellow when it touched the blue. Yellow and blue are primary, so do you know what color it makes? Yep, I see some green. So I'm coloring in as quickly as I can. So are you doing the same? Are you coloring along with me? So I'm making sure every bit of the white is covered. So we're going to make a round print of exactly what we drew. Okay. Double checking everything is colored. I might go over some that I don't think is dark enough. Okay. All right. I'm ready for the first printing. So I want you to stop whatever you're doing and watch this process so when you're ready and you have finished coloring, you can do the same. So get your paper. About this, mine is about the same size as my print, but it doesn't matter. You can trim it to fit. So the paper has to be wet. So you're going to get your sponge or your paper towel, and you can feel that it's all wet throughout the whole sponge, and you're going to move it over the paper. It has to be wet enough so the marker can rub off. So you're going to make sure the paper's kind of glossy looking. You can see the wetness. I'm going over it 2 and 3 times. You can go one way and then you can go the other way. And if you have a little bit of marker on your finger and it gets on the paper, that's okay. That's part of printmaking. I'm keeping my sponge in there to keep it dry. You see my print right here? I'm going to turn it over and place it right in the middle of the paper or wherever I want it. And then I'm using pressure on my hands and I'm going to massage it. This is a very important part where you have to make sure you rub every part of your styrofoam or your print. I like to get a marker with the top on it, and I can roll it. That way it's more evenly pressed. I roll it all around the print. You do need to spend a good minute doing this. If you want to flip it over and do the other side, you can. If you think you can flip it over without moving it, and do this and roll it around again. And then we're going to see how it came out. If it didn't come out like we want, we just do it again. We just see what our mistakes were. Did we not put enough water? Did we not put enough marker? Did we not press enough? This is a trial and error process. Let's check it out. Let's see the magic. Wow. Okay, I think I put a little bit too much water, but I really like how it came out. It's kind of psychedelic. Kind of bleeds into one another, and I can see my light white lines, so it is kind of cool. All right, you keep on coloring and you can try your print, and I'm going to do this print in a completely different way while you're doing yours, okay? And then we'll join back together. I'm going to change up all the colors that I did before, so this print will look completely different, okay? And when you're ready, you can go ahead and do your print. I'm going to do some black this time. Putting a lot of good ink in there. Heart's got to be real. I might mix some black and brown. Let's see how that comes out. Okay, I could decide whether I'm going to color the background or not color the background. I might try this gray and color the background this time. How'd your first print come out? Did you get a chance to do it yet? It's always helpful to do it 2 or 3 times. Then you can choose your best ones. So once you make a print, it's an image that you can do over and over again, that you can have it and change it each time. I might just put some blue dots that are just different colors on here just to make some spots and see how that comes out. So printmaking is about experimenting as well. All right, y'all like that one? Let's give it a try. These are going to be completely different colors, so I can feel my sponge is still wet. I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going all the way down, making sure it's really wet this way. Not too wet. If you want to do it one way with the sponge, and then this side of the sponge might can dry it a little bit. If anytime you think it's too wet, all you have to do is just let it dry for a couple of seconds. You can fan it a little bit. It'll dry quicker before you print. And I'll try it the other way, where I'll put the paper on top of it this time, the wet side down. I can feel it. I can feel the image. I can feel the edges of the circle. All under the paper. I'm giving it a good massage. I can use the marker and roll it to all parts of the circle. Oh, the marker came off. Let's see how this one came out. Wow, looks completely different. So you see how two prints side by side and they look completely different? Awesome. Good, I'm glad you get the hang of it. Hope it came out. If you want, let's start our second one. This time we could do more of a radial design if you have a circle. Or if you want, you could draw some flowers or draw a car or draw an object that you like to draw instead of just lines and shapes. I did flowers. This time I did some roses. I did the watermelon. I don't know. I did the leaf. Some different things that you can try. Or you could start in the middle and start with something small and then make the images go out like a radial design. It's called a mandala. How about I just try some buildings this time? Maybe like a cityscape. See if I can do that. But you can really draw whatever you want. So let's draw together. We can keep it a circle shape, or I might want a little flat edge. So I can cut part of this off. We can change the shape. Some of my buildings might be kind of tall. I'm thinking of a little city. That's what I'm thinking of. So what shapes would I need to draw a lot of if I'm making a cityscape? Yep, rectangles. So let's see, I might could use that to help me draw the rectangle. I might put it as a little ruler. So here's my tallest building. Then maybe I have another building that's in the front that's kind of short. Making sure I get some good pressing with the ink pen. And this building might be a little bit behind the other one. This one can have a different type of roof. This one might even have a round roof. And then maybe another short buildings. And then we need doors. So you're just drawing, just like you normally draw. But can you feel it? Are you pressing enough? Here's a window. Here's another door. You have to make sure all of it is pressed enough. This one might have circle windows. So we're all drawing our own thing right now, right? So you'll know what the first step is, to draw with your ink pen. All right? So if I wanted some texture in the buildings, I could put little stones or little dots to make stones. I could draw lines, stripes on buildings. Okay, now I'm ready just to color it. Let's see how it's going to go. My biggest building is going to be red. I'm going to color the whole thing red. But I'm going to go back and make my windows blue. And maybe the roof blue. How about a gray stone building? Color it all gray. You're putting your tops on your markers because you know they dry out if you don't keep the caps on them. Markers won't last very long if you don't put the caps on them. I go over with the lighter yellow and see how that comes out. Maybe I'll have a darker door. All right. Maybe I'll have a night sky and I'll color all of this black. Or you could do blue and it could be a daytime sky. So I'm making a completely different picture. Well, before I print this, let me show you this image right here. So this time I did not have enough water. So if your prints are coming out too light, it's because you did not have enough wetness. So I had to color it all again and then make sure my paper was damp enough with the sponge, and then I got this better image. So if you have something that's too light, it's possible that you didn't put enough marker, or it's most likely that you didn't put enough water. All right, let me print this one and see how it's going to come out. So this is a cityscape. We might need buildings here, we might need buildings here. So I'm going to wet my paper. I'm using this side of the sponge to wet it all. And then I'm using this side to make sure it's not too wet. And I'll place my buildings on this edge of the paper. Give it a good massage. Use your pencil or your markers to press. Go each way. Let's see how it came out. Cool. All right, now I'm going to do the same thing again, but my buildings are going to be different colors. Now, another thing, sometimes you like to write words on these printmaking things, but you have to remember that it will come out backwards. So if you're writing your name or anything like that, you need to write it backwards, which is kind of tricky. So I'm kind of staying away from writing words, but you can do it. You just have to write them backwards. So my middle building is going to be red this time. And then I'll have a blue building. And a gray one at the end. I will continue the night sky, so it looks like one big picture. So I only drew 4 buildings. But in the cityscape, I'm going to have double that because I printed it twice. Print it here, so I'm going to make sure that just this part of the paper is wet. Lay it right so it overlaps a little bit. Giving it a good massage, giving it a good roll. Look how fun. So I have a whole city right there. Isn't that cool? Hope yours are turning out just as well. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you learned a new technique of making art and can incorporate some printmaking in your future projects. It's also something fun to do together with friends. If you're interested in doing more printmaking, join me on Saturday, May 21st, 2022, at the Hilliard Museum for our family day at Let's Make Art. We are going to be doing some gayutaku. We're going to print on this rubber fish. Doesn't that sound like fun? This will be held from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. It's perfect for ages 4 on up. I hope to see you there. And thanks again for making art with me.